Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to today's morning ramble. I have been very busy teaching and moving things online over the last week, so it's been a little while. And I wanted to spend a few minutes this morning to just talk about fear as a motivator and the limits of fear as a motivator. So I learned in some psychology class I took years ago that human beings are born with only two natural fears: falling and loud noises. And there was some evolutionary explanation for that I don't remember. But those fears are the only ones built into the biology of a human, which means that all other fears are learned. And one of the ways that we intuitively have learned to use fear is to keep our children safe. So if a child, and like a very young child, so toddler, is about to run into the street, we will shout at the top of our lungs, "Stop!" And that biological fear response triggers, and the kid freezes and makes an association very often with "don't cross the street or you'll have that terrible feeling again." And so in that moment, we've used fear to keep our child safe. Here's the problem. A couple years later, kids start to understand traffic and cars and what happens if a car hits you. And at that point, even if they didn't have an ounce of fear, they wouldn't run into the street without at least looking both ways for a car. So the fear, which initially, great, I can keep them safe by just shouting at them, and then that puts the fear of God in them, and they're like, they won't do anything, now actually becomes or starts to become an obstacle, because I get to the edge of the street and I feel scared and I don't even know why. But the fear's no longer keeping me safe. It's just kind of muddling up the waters. It's making it a little harder for me to just follow my common sense and kind of look and walk across the street. And that pattern generalizes throughout our life. For whatever reason, I think it's actually not even individual. I think it's cultural. I think we've just, as a culture, been using fear to try and control behavior for so many millennia that it's kind of cooked in. You know, we all grow up with that programming, with that conditioning. But we don't see that if you have a clear understanding of what's going on, if you are able to be really present to something, that is the absolute safest place to be. That when you are in that calm center that we all have inside, we all do really well at life. We do as well as we're going to do. We have a lot of common sense when we're not following fear. The problem with the fear is it overrides the common sense. It stops us from learning. So if we're scared enough, we don't even learn about cars, because we're never going to go near the street, because streets are dangerous. When I used to do NLP, we used to do phobia cures, and we would help people with phobias of heights and snakes and dogs, all sorts. And the first thing that you had to do when somebody got past the phobia, when they no longer had that automatic terror response at the sight of a snake or a height or a dog, is we had to start educating them about which snakes are safe and which snakes are dangerous. How close to the edge you can get on how stable the surface to stay safe, no matter how high up you are, whether you're on a girder. I worked with somebody recently who used to work on the Golden Gate Bridge, and he had pictures of him climbing up the outside of the bridge, and for him it was like, he wasn't scared, but he was safe. He knew what to do to be safe. He wasn't reckless because he wasn't scared. He just was able to use his information and common sense. We had to teach people how to spot a dog that's safe from a dog that isn't safe. And once you're not terrified, we're made to learn, and we can learn incredibly quickly. So if you are finding yourself scared of what's going on at the moment with the coronavirus and with health and with the economy and with your business, I get it. But you have a common sense and an ability that's baked into you to learn and adapt and respond that's probably you're not getting full use of if you're living in fear. Well, what do you do about it? Well, two things. One is if you see that it's just fear trying to keep you safe, but it's the wrong tool for the job, some of it will change all by itself. But if you notice yourself getting really caught up in all your scary thinking, the best thing you can do, as best you can, is just feel into the fear. Feel into the sensation in your body. And you'll find it's just sensation. And it passes remarkably quickly. And then there you are, good as new, clear as a bell, able to know or learn what's best to do for you, for your family, for your health, for your business, for the planet. Have fun, learn heaps, happy exploring. I'll talk to you again soon.